Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm going to see if I can add another group. Let's add another group. Let's add Facebook to the group. Looks like we can. Sweet. Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's live show with me, Kelly, as your hostess with the most. I'm hoping you guys can hear this. I'm going to see about feedback on my other computer. Hold on, I'll be right back. Oh, yeah, right here. Let's see if it's going to work for me. I'm hoping it will. It should. Okay. There we go. There we go. Yep, we got live feedback. See? I'm my own producer too. It's what happens when you're so small. But you know what? Small packages have a lot to offer too. So don't discount people that are small packages. Not at all. Well, anyway, I wanted to not only share what I'm doing, but also I'll be reading this book. You can see it on your screen. I'll be reading this book. I've only read one book of David Baldacci, or however you pronounce his name, right? I've only done one book of his, and that was called The Winner. It was a very compelling book. It really was. I found it in the shed, in our shed. I walked out one day, I was like, well, heck, what can I actually get here that I would actually enjoy? So I got the Winner. And I was like, oh, hell, I actually, in post, I'll actually put The Winner in as a card that I did from, oh my gosh, maybe a year ago now. But I'll put it in the cards in post-production. But anyway, this is what I'll be reading today. But before I get into that, I want to actually do 1 to 2 songs of violin. Don't judge me too harshly now. Okay? Now, the first one I'll be doing is I'll be doing the D major scale in 3s. Okay, because I'm still brand new to violin. There we go. You know what I did? the D major scale in threes with the French folk song. You had to be there, I guess. It's kind of funny. To me, it's kind of funny. Anyway, I'm sorry. So let's try the D major scale, the French folk song, and I've only annotated it and I've only played it a couple times, which is the essential elements quiz called Sailor Song. So D major scale. Oops. This is maybe hold on. Maybe this will be a little bit easier, considering I'm used to doing cello. Oh my goodness gracious! Where am I? Okay, there I am. That was a little bit better. Let's try it up here now. Not bad. Now the French folk song. Get that. That's a mouthful. French folk song. Or I should say, folk song. I don't know what the French word is for folk or song, but you get the drift. Anyway, okay. So, all right, here we go. I'm going to take this off. That's my tuner. What do you think? Put them in the comments if you can. Tell me what you think of the song. I know there's one of you watching, so say hi. All right. Okay. Now, for the Sailor song, don't be too judgmental on this one song because I've only played it a few times. bad. Not bad. I could do a hell of a lot better. Well, who couldn't, right? But I'm learning. I'm learning. I don't have my cello out here today. You want to play cello? You want to listen to cello? I'm a little bit better with cello than I am with violin. You want to listen to it? If you do, actually, regardless, I'm going to do it. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. And I can show you how I tune the instruments too. You know, because every time you start playing the violin or any string instrument except for, you know, like for instance, the piano. You don't have to tune that every time, but every so often it should get tuned. Right? So let me get my bowl for my cello out, and then I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get the cello. Be right back. Ooh. Here's Abigail. And now I'm going to move my notes and scores for this. I typically always do a warm-up for my cello. Okay. Okay. Okay, A is pretty much right where I want it to be, except C. There we go. I just don't want to break it down. There we go. There we go. Holy cow, okay, there we go. That's a C sharp. That's a D. Bring it down a little bit. That's a D. Bring it down. There we go. B. C. Well, I'm going to have it out of C because I can't get it right now. F. G. There we go. G, perfect. A, D. There we go. D. Hey. Now I got everything but the other one, which the last string is technically supposed to be a C, but I got to a C sharp. So you know what? I better have it just at C sharp versus anything else. So it's fine. So no biggie. I'll see if I need to put some more on here. Oops. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay. Usually you put your rods in the bowl if you know, so it makes it glide better. Oh God, that perfect resonation. There's no words for it. It's nearly orgasmic, if you will. So anyway. Alright, let's start. We're gonna go through the scales and then I'll see about playing something else too. Okay? That was D major. Wrong key. Oops, sorry. I'll redo that. I was on the D string when I should have been on the G string. There we go. That was better, wasn't it? Now, for the G major, in parentheses, it's called upper octave violin. So, now the C major. Let's try that one more time. Much better. Now, for the resolution songs, which happens to be C major, this is going to be your lowest note. Okay? Let's try it one more time. My finger. Where was it? Where was it? Was it in here? No, that's not what I want to play. Oh, it's one of these. I know it's got to be one of these. No, that's the other symphony. I don't want to play that one right now. Oh, let's play this one. I'm getting better at this one. I'm still a newbie, but I'm getting better at this one. This is the 1812 Overture, Opus 49 by Pyotr Tchaikovsky. Okay. Oops. What did you think of that one? And the last one that I'll be playing today, before we get into our book, is the second position of the cello. This is greetings, what's your name, and let's have fun. Because that's the whole point of playing and practicing instruments, right? Let's have fun. So, what's your name? and let's have fun. For the basis piece of resistance. Oh, I'm having fun. That's the whole point. So. Oops, wrong key. Pretty good, huh? Thank you. Anyhow, now I'm going to shuffle this around so that you and I can enjoy the book. Sound good? Sounds good to me too. There we go. I specifically got the mic for a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons is so you guys can hear me better. So the blurb is one good deed. So in 1949, when veteran Aloysius Archer is released from Carter Rock prison, he is sent to Polka City on parole. With a short list of do's and much longer list of don'ts, do report regularly to his parole officer. Don't go to bars. Certainly don't drink alcohol. Do get a job. And don't ever associate with loose women. The small town quickly proves more complicated and dangerous than Archer's years serving in the wards of his time in jail. Within a single night, he searches for gainful employment, right? And a stiff drink leads him to a local bar where he is hired for what seems like a simple job, to collect a debt owed to a powerful local businessman, Hank Pittleman. Soon, Archer discovers that recovering the debt won't be so easy. The indebted man has a furious grudge against Hank and refuses to pay Hank's clever mistress. Hank's clever mistress has her own designs on Archer. And both Hank and Archer's stern parole officer, Miss Crabtree, and keeping a sharp eye on him. When a murder takes place right under Archer's nose, police suspicions rise against them, the ex-convict, and Archer realizes that the crime should send him right back to prison if he doesn't use every skill in his arsenal to take down the real killer. Really? Okay, let's see. Okay. And he's got a lot of books. See all that? You see all those books? And really? Yep, the winner is the third one in line. Yep. And this was published in 2019. The year before the world went to hell. Chapter 1. It was a good day to be free of prison. A mechanical whoosh and greasy smell of the opening bus doors greeted Aloysius Archer as he breathed free air for the first time in a while. He wore a threadbare single-breasted brown victory suit with peak lapels that he'd bought from the Sears Roebuck catalog before heading off to war. The jacket was shorter than normal, and there were no pleats or cuffs to the pants because that all took up more material than the war would allow. There was no belt for the same reason. A string tie, a fraying, wrinkled white shirt, and a scuffled lace-up size 12 plain Oxford shoes completed the only wardrobe he owned. Small clouds of dust rose off his footwear as he trudged to the bus. His pointed chocolate brown fedora with the dented crown had a loop of faded burgundy silk around it. He bought the hat after coming back from the war, one of the few times he'd splurged on anything, but a global victory over evil had seemed to warrant it. There was the clothes he'd worn to prison, and now he was leaving in them. He comically lamented that in all this time, the good folks of the correctional world had not seen fit to clean or even press them, and his hat held stains that he hadn't brought with him to incarceration. What a surprise. Yet a man couldn't go around without a hat. The pants hung loosely around his waist, a waist ground slimmer and harder than while he had been locked up. He was fully 25 pounds heavier than he when he'd gone into prison. Oh, really? But so, either that or muscle, one of the two. But the extra weight was all muscle. There we go. There's my answer. Grafted onto his arms, shoulders, chest, and back, and legs. Sounds really cute already. Good looking. Like thickened vines of a mature tree. In his socks, he was exactly 6'1 1/4. The army had measured him years before. They were quite adept at calculating height, though they had to frequently fail to supply him with enough ammunition for his M1 rifle or food for his belly. While he and his fellow soldiers were trying to free large patches of the world from an on-bill collection and deranged men. The prison had a rudimentary gym of which he'd taken full advantage. It wasn't just to build up his body. When he was pumping weights or running up or walking his gut, it allowed him to forget for his precious hour or two that he was squirreled away in a cage with felonious men. The prison also held a book depository teeming with tattered, coverless books that sported missing pages and inopportune times. But they were precious to him nonetheless. His favorites had been westerns, where the man got the gal, and the detective novels, where the man got the gal and also caught the bad guy, which he supposed was a funny sort of way for a prisoner to be entertained. Yet he liked the puzzle component of the mystery novel. He tried to solve them before he got to the end and found that as time went on, he had happened upon the correct solution more often than not. The jail grub he had been pretty much done without. What wasn't spoiled or wormy held no discernible taste to persuade him to ingest it. He'd gotten by on a variety of fruits picked from a nearby orchard, vegetables harvested from the small garden in the side of the prison walls, and the occasional piece of fried fish or soft bread and clots of warm apple fritters that arrived at the prison in mysterious ways. Some said they were dropped off by compassionate ladies, either looking to do good or else hoping for a husband in 3 to 5 years. The rest of the time was spent either busting big rocks into smaller ones, using sledgehammers, collecting trash along the side of the roads, only to see it back on the next day, or else ditching to nowhere fast because a man with a double-barreled shotgun, sunglasses, a wide-brimmed hat, and a stone-cold stare told him that he was all That was all he was good for. He was not yet 30, was never married and no children. But no glance in the but one glance in the mirror showed a man who seemed older. His skin baked brown by the sun and further aged by being behind bars for the rest of the time. A war coupled with the brutal experience of losing one's liberty had left their indelible marks on him. The two, these two experiences had successfully robbed him of the remainder of his youth, but hardened him in ways. Cass! Sorry, yell it. Cass! Cass! Get out of that door right now. Sorry. Okay. So world or coupled with brutal experiences of losing one's liberty had left their indelible marks on him. These two experiences had successfully robbed him of the remainder of his youth, but hardened him in ways that might at some point work out in his favor. Oh, hold on a second. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. Sorry about that. I didn't realize that my book had gone down. So. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. His hair had been long going to prison. On the first day they had cut it army short. Then he'd try to grow a beard. They'd shave that off too. They said something about lice and hiding places for contraband. Well, that's true. He vowed never to cut his hair again, or at least to go as long as he possibly could without doing so. It was a small thing, to be sure. He had started out life concentrated only on achieving large goals. Now he was focused on getting by. The impossibly difficult ambitions had been driven from him. On the other hand, the mundane seemed reasonably doable for Archer. He ducked his head and swept off his fedora to avoid colliding with the ceiling of the rickety vehicle. The bus doors closed with a hiss and a thud. And he walked down the center aisle, a suddenly free man looking for unencumbered space. The rocking bus was surprisingly full. Well, perhaps not surprisingly. He assumed this mode of transport was the only way to get around. This was not. Oh my God! There's a lot of narrating here. He assumed this mode of transport was the only way to get around. This was not the sort of land where they built airfields or train depots, and those black ribbons of state highways never seemed to get rolled into these places. It was the sort of area where folks did not own a vehicle that could travel more than 50 miles at a given time. Oh, good. We're going to be coming up to some dialogue. Nor did the folks driving said vehicles ever want to go to that far anyway. They might fall off the edge of the earth. The other passengers looked at it bedraggled as he, they looked as bedraggled as he, perhaps more so. Maybe they'd even maybe they'd been behind their own sorts of bars that day. While he was leaving his, they were all dressed in pre-war clothes or close to it, with dirty nails, raw eyes, hungry looks, and not even a glimmer of hope in the bunch. That surprised him, since there were now a few years removed from a wondrous global victory, and things were settling down. But then again, victory did not mean that prosperity and had suddenly rained down upon all parts of the country, like anything else. Some fared better than others. It seemed that he was currently riding with the others. They all stared up at him with fear or suspicion, or sometimes both running seamlessly together. It was not one friendly expression in one. He saw not one friendly expression in the crowd. Perhaps humankind had changed while he had been away, or then again, maybe it was the same as it had been always. He just couldn't tell. He had gotten his land legs back. Archer spotted an empty seat next to an older man in threadbare overalls over a stained undershirt, a stubby straw that had perched in his lap, brogans the size of babies on his feet, and a large canvas bag clutched in one calloused hand. He had watched Archer bug-eyed for the whole time it took him to reach his seat. An instant before Archer's bottom hit the stained fabric of the chair, the other man let himself go wide, splaying out like a pot boiling over, forcing Archer to ride on the edge of the and uncomfortably so. What an asshole. Seriously. Would it really fucking hurt you so much to literally, make a little room for somebody on the fucking bus? Seriously, I'm an asshole. I swear, that's what men do. They usually take up more room. Still, he didn't mind. Well, of course not. You're leaving the fucking prison. While his prison cell had been bigger than the space he was now occupying, he had shared it with four other men, and not a single one of them was going anywhere. But now I'm going somewhere. Joint, stop. What's that? Asked Archer, eyeballing the man, looking at him now. His seatmate's hair was going white, and his mustache and beard had already gone all the way there. You got on that prison step. Did I know? Yeah, you did. How long did you know it? How long did you do in the can? Archer turned away and looked outside the windshield in the painful glare of sunshine and the vast sky over the broad plains ahead of the unblemished by a single cloud. Long enough. Hey, you don't have to have a smoke I can bum. You can't barely borrow a smoke now, can you? You can't even smoke on here anyways. The hell you say? The man pointed to a handwritten sign of cardboard hanging overhead that said this very thing: more rules. Archer shook his head. I've smoked on a train, on a Navy ship, and in a damn church. My old man smoked in the waiting room when I was being born, so they told me. And he said my mom had a Pall Mall in her mouth when I came out. What's the deal here, friend? They've had trouble here before, see? Like what? Like some knucklehead fell asleep smoking and caught a whole dang bus on fire. Right. ruin it for everybody else. Ain't good for anyone else, I believe, said the man. Most things not good for me. I enjoy every now and again. What do you get to? What do you get? Blah, blah. What do you? What do you get? What did you get to get locked up? Or what did you do to get locked up? Kill a man? Archer shook his head. Never killed anybody. Guess they all say that. Guess they do. Guess you were innocent. No, I did it. Ended Archer. Did what? Killed a man. Why? He was asking too many questions of me. But Archer smiled, so the man didn't appear too alarmed at the unveiled threat. Where you headed? Somewhere that's not here, said Archer. He took off his jacket, carefully folded it, and laid it on his lap with his top hat. Is all you got the clothes on your back? All I got? What's your ticket say? Archer dug in his pocket and pulled it out. It was 80 and dry outside and 100 inside the bus. Even with the windows half down, the created breeze was like oven heat. And the mingled doors were peculiar, and yet Archer didn't really sweat. Not anymore. Prison had been far hotter, far more peculiar. His pores had a sense of smell and apparently recalibrated. Polka City. He read off the flimsy ticket. Never been there, but I hear it's growing like gangbusters, used to the boondocks. But then it went from the cattle pasture to a real town. People coming out of this way after the war, you see. And what do you do once they get there? Anything they can, brother, to make ends meet. Sounds like a good plan as any other. The older man studied him. Were you in the war? You look like you were. I was. See a lot of the world. I bet. I have, not always places I wanted to be. I've been out of this state exactly one time. Went to Texas to buy some cattle. Never been to Texas. This is getting more boring and boring and boring as I go along. Hey, have you been to New York City? Yes, I have. The man sat up straighter. You have? Archer casually nodded his head. Passed through there on the account of war. Seen the Statue of Liberty. Then to the top of the Empire State Building. Rode the ride over at Coney Island. Even seen some Rockettes walking down the street and their setups and all. The man licked his lips. Tell me something. Are their legs like they say, friend? Better. Yams like Betty Grable and faces like Lana Turner. Damn, what else? He asked eagerly. Had a box of lunch in the middle of the Central Park. Sat on a blanket with a honey worked at Macy's department store. They drank sodas and then she slipped out of a flask from the top of her stocking. What was in there? Well, it was better than grape soda, I can tell you that. We had a nice day and a better night. The man scratched his cheek. So, what are you doing all the way out here then? Life has a crazy past times. And like you said, folks heading this way after the war. The man, evidently intrigued now by his companion, sat up straighter, allowing Archer more purchase on his seat. And the war was a long time ago, or it seems that way, said Archer, stretching out. But you got one life, right? Unless somebody has been lying to me. Hold on. Church says we got two lives. One now and one after we're dead. Eternal. Don't think that's in the cards for me. Man, never knows. Oh, I think I know. Archer tipped his head back, closed his eyes, and grabbed his first bit of shut eye as a free man in a long time. Should I read the second chapter? Oh, it's not that many pages. It's roughly 7 pages. Archer got off at Polka City 7 hours later, and too many stops in between to remember. People had gotten on and people got gotten off. They had a dinner and bathroom break at roadside diner with outside in the back, both of which looked only a stiff breeze away from the falling over. It was nearly 8 in the evening now. He stood there as the bus and the rube with too many queries, and the remaining nervous folks clutching all they owned sped off into the night, chasing pots of gold along dusty roads with nary a helpful leprechaun in sight. Good riddance to them all, thought Archer, and then, a second later, his more charitable consideration was, well, good luck to them. We all needed luck now and then, was his firm belief, and maybe not right now he needed it more than most. The point was, would he get it? Or will I have to make my own damn luck and hope for no better luck as a chaser? Oh my God. He put on his hat and then his jacket and looked around. He was in Polka City because the DOP, Department of Protection, Department of something, Department of Prisons, okay, said it was where he had to serve his parole. He dragged out the pages he had been given. In fact, bold typeface on the title page was Department of Prisons, or the DOP. Below that long list of don'ts and a far shorter list of do's. These rules would govern his life for the next 3 years. While he was free, it was a liberty with lassos attached, with so-called legal conditions that he mostly could make neither head nor tail of. Who knew prison could stick it to you, like running into a spider's web in the morning, flailing about just wanting to be free on the tendrils, while alarmed that the poisonous thing was coming for you. Archer had been released from prison well before he served his full sentence due to time off for good behavior and also for passing muster as his first parole board meeting. He'd been ventured into the light, stuffy room that held a flimsy table with 3 chairs behind and 1 chair in front of him, not knowing what to expect. 2 burly prison guards had accompanied him to this meeting. He had been dressed in his prison duds, which seemed to shriek guilt and continued dagger from each pore of sweat-stained fabric. Behind the table were 3 people, 2 men and 1 woman. The men were short and stout and freely perspiring in the closeness of the room. They looked self-important and bored as they greedily puffed at their fat cigars. The woman, who sat in the middle of this little band of freedom givers or takers, was tall and matronly, with an elaborate hat on with fabric bird clung to one side and with a dead fox around her blocky shoulders. Wow, what a description. Archer had insistently seized on her as the real power, and thus had focused all of his attention there. His contriteness was genuine, his remorse complete. He stared into a large, brown-eyed, and said his piece with heartfelt emphasis, continued in word until he saw quivering at the corners of those eyes, the false bird and the fox start to shake. When he'd finished and then answered all her questions, the consultation among the board was swift in his favor, and then quickly catapulted to the woman's majestical decree. Oh God, this is boring as hell. And that had been the price of freedom, which he had been gladly paid. The Derby Hotel was where the DOP said it would be. Point for those folks, grudgingly, its architecture reminded him of places he'd been in Germany. That did not sit particularly well with him. Archer hadn't fought all those years to come and see elements of the vanquished settled there. Or settled here. Behave. He trudged across the macadam, the collected heat of the day. There we go. I thought I lost connection at first. He trudged across the macadam, the collected heat of the day wicking up into his long feet through the sky was now dark. It was still cloudless and clear. The air was so dry he felt his skin tried to pull back into itself. Archer also thought he had these. Oh my God! There's a lot of fucking dialogue. I mean, a lot of fucking narrating. All right, I'm done with this book. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just done. Sorry. I'm sorry, but I really like David Baldacci's writing, but not this book. Sorry. I like The Winner, but this book, no. But anyway, you guys have a great day. Thanks for joining me and Loudmouth over here. Come here. You want to come by the camera and see the kids and see the show? Huh? Here. Go get it. Anyhow, you guys have a great day. Stay cool or warm depending upon where you are in the world. I will see you next week. Most likely, I think I'm going to end up putting my WOMP together with my weekend review. Sorry about that, guys. Still not. Can you hear me now? Let's. Can you hear me now?
can't hear me. All right, let's try this. Anyhow,